hope that you will also be guided by diplomatic practice to ensure that your activities remain within the limits of your profession.
Don't interfere in local politics, President Buhari says to foreign diplomats.
We will fund them to acquire plants and equipment. We will fund them to open factories for 10 years loan and 2 years moratorium.
New foreign exchange policy maintains support for the Naira and non-oil exports.
To import petroleum products has become a war that we have to win. Why?
Also tonight, NNPC assures public of increased fuel supply as House of Representatives calls for suspension of companies that imported adulterated fuel. Good evening. This is NTA Network News. I'm Cyril Stober in Abuja. Hingino John Adams is in our Lagos Center. And you can follow this news broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live, and YouTube channel, NTA News Online. You can also visit our Twitter at NTA News Now, Facebook page NTA Network News, and Instagram NTA Network for updates. President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered that producers and providers of consumable products be held accountable for substandard services and or products sold by them. The President has also given directives to the relevant government agencies to take every step in line with the laws of the country to ensure the respect and protection of consumers against market abuses and social injustices. In a reaction to the issue of petroleum product shortages linked to the inadvertent supply of contaminated products of foreign origin into the Nigerian market, President Buhari said the protection of consumer interests is a priority of the present administration and is ready to take all necessary measures to protect consumers from hazardous products, loss or injuries from the consumption of substandard goods. The President directed that in line with the law, service providers must make full disclosure of relevant information with respect to the consumption of their products and that dissatisfied consumers are entitled to a proper redress of their complaints. Nigeria has formally congratulated Senegal for winning the recently concluded Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon. President Muhammadu Buhari extended the country's felicitations to his Senegalese counterpart, Macky Sall, when he granted audience to that country's ambassador to Nigeria, Babakar Ndiaye. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports.
Ambassador Babakar Ndiaye was in the State House to say goodbye to President Muhammadu Buhari, having concluded his tour of duty to Nigeria. President Buhari asked the envoy to convey the congratulations of Nigeria to President Macky Sall on the victory of Teranga Lions at the Africa Cup of Nations, first in the history of the West African nation. He told Ambassador Ndiaye jocularly that he is sending the congratulations reluctantly because his country, Nigeria, was beaten at the tournament. The president lauded the outgoing envoy for a successful tour of duty that lasted almost 4 years and observed that the relationship between Senegal and Nigeria is very strong and cordial. While congratulating President Macky Sall, the new chairperson of the African Union, for keeping his country together, wished the outgoing ambassador success in his future endeavors. Ambassador Ndiaye said Nigeria is like a second home to him, having first served in the consular session of the embassy before returning to the country as ambassador for almost 4 years. He told President Buhari that he will always have good memories of Nigeria. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has advised members of the diplomatic community in Nigeria to stay within the limits of their schedules and not intrude in the internal politics of the country as the countdown to the 2023 general elections gathers momentum. This was while receiving letters of credence from new ambassadors posted to Nigeria on tour of duty. Here again is Adamu Sambu with the report.
The new ambassadors who presented their letters of credence to President Muhammadu Buhari were Zdeněk Krejčí of Czech Republic, Stefano De Leo of the Republic of Italy, Juan Ignacio Celsang of the Kingdom of Spain, and Michael Schwal Freeman of the State of Israel. And as the envoys formally assumed their representational duties in Nigeria, President Buhari was quick to remind them of what he called the interesting political period ahead as Nigerians return to the polls early next year to elect new political leaders.
As you settle down in the face of these developments, it is my hope that you will also be guided by diplomatic practice to ensure that your activities remain within the limits of your profession as you monitor the build-up to and the conduct of the general elections next year.
The president is optimistic that the envoys will appreciate the uniqueness and strength in Nigeria's political, socio-economic, and cultural diversities, which he said can be leveraged in further advancing relations with their countries to significant heights.
We are living in unprecedented times and with so much uncertainties, especially the rise in global insecurity, among other existential threats to our collective peace, progress, and shared values. For us in Nigeria, we continue to make steady progress despite the daunting challenges, especially in the areas of insecurity, fight against corruption, diversification of the economy, and our efforts in promoting good governance, amongst other aspirations.
Nigeria, he also said, will continue to work with member states of ECOWAS and other regional blocs to deal with the problems of terrorism, transborder crimes, banditry, maritime issues, as well as the recent wave of unconstitutional changes of government.
We are engaging in frank self-retrospection in order to identify and isolate appropriate containment strategies that can help de-escalate the drift into the unconstitutional seizure of power in the sub-region.
The ambassador of Czech Republic, who responded on behalf of the new diplomats, told the president that they are indeed honored that the relations between their countries and Nigeria are good and fruitful.
We are ready to do our best to develop them even further, meeting all variety of your people and developing comprehensive cooperation between our nations.
The future of Africa will be decided here. So we work here for stability, for peace, for development, for the whole continent, and it's really a privilege to stay and to work in Nigeria.
I plan to work not only through contacts with the government and the administration, but to foster those people-to-people contacts that in the end it's the basis on which to enrich our relations.
There is so much for Israel and Nigeria to partner with, to share together, to learn on issues such as health and education, high-tech, innovation, job creation, security. Really the sky is the limit, and I have no doubt that Israel and Nigeria will be able to work together, grow together for the benefit of both our countries and both of our peoples.
All the new envoys were earlier on arrival at the nation's seat of government, treated to a befitting diplomatic welcome by officers and soldiers of the Presidential Guards Brigade. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
In speaking about insecurity and insurgency, no fewer than 30,000 Boko Haram fighters and those of the Islamic State of West Africa province have so far renounced acts of terrorism and insurgency in favor of the peace-building initiatives in Borno State. This is attributable to the non-kinetic measures adopted by the federal and Borno State governments towards putting an end to the reign of terror in Nigeria's northeast. The Borno State Governor, Babagana Umar Zulum, announced this while briefing newsmen after an audience with President Muhammadu Buhari. The details again provided by Adamu Sambu.
Governor Babagana Umara Zulum was in the presidential villa to brief President Muhammadu Buhari on the status of the peace restoration drive in Borno State. Discussions held behind closed doors centered on the gradual return of peace and normalcy in the significant part of the state, the massive surrender by Boko Haram and ISWAP fighters, as well as the rehabilitation and resettlement efforts.
As of now, we received nothing less than 30,000. ISWAP, we have started receiving them in few numbers, but Boko Haram, we have started receiving them in huge numbers. As I have been saying before, the kinetic measures alone will never end the insurgency. The social and political dimension of this crisis is very important. So we have decided to engage them through dialogue and mediation with a view to ensuring that many of them should lay their arms. And so far, so good. The objectives have started yielding positive result.
Governor Zulum thanked President Muhammadu Buhari for what he described as the heavy military deployment on the shores of Lake Chad, as well as in southern Borno.
The federal government of Nigeria, under the leadership of President Buhari, the Borno state government, the military, were all working in close collaboration to ensure that those that are willing to surrender are given the opportunity to surrender. Honestly speaking, things are getting better in Borno State. This is the major reason why I came to see Mr. President. The way we are going, with the support of the federal government, with good management, Boko Haram will be over very soon, inshallah.
The governor described the recent inauguration by the president of a presidential committee on the repatriation, return, and resettlement of internally displaced persons in the area, headed by the vice president, as appropriate and timely. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The federal government has launched a new program to address the situation of vulnerable children and youth in the country, known as At-Risk Children Program. The initiative is developed through the Office of the Vice President and will be coordinated by the Office of the Special Advisor to the President on Social Investment. State House correspondent Jide Unifadi reports.
I came to office in 2019. I found that Gombe has one of the highest rates of out-of-school children.
This arguably is not a good story to tell, but a reality of some of the challenges faced by states has been narrated here by Governor Inwa Yahaya of Gombe State. The size of the head, as the saying goes, determines the extent of headaches. There are several interventions by the federal government, such as the various efforts being made to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty within a 10-year period.
I doubt whether anyone is in doubt about the urgency of the moment with respect to providing the necessary lifelines, confidence and support to vulnerable children and youth.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo also explains why the contribution of all Nigerians and development partners is germane to solving the issues.
But at the heart of the At-Risk Children's Program is the idea that every Nigerian child counts. A nation will ultimately be measured by how it treats its most vulnerable citizens. And we recognize that we cannot make progress as a people while a significant population of our children, those to whom the future belongs, are left on the margins of society, deprived of the opportunity to discover and fulfill their potential. So ACP is aimed at giving a new lease of life to millions of children who, through no fault of theirs, have found themselves without hope or support. The fate of our most vulnerable children is a cause that should bring all of us in government, in civil society, in the private sector, together in a massive collaborative effort.
States that are already implementing the program are Gombe, Sokoto, Ekiti, and Kaduna, and they all have great experience to share, with others already showing commitment to be part of the team.
And ready at all times. By the time we combine the work they're doing with the work Agile is doing, with the work BESTA is doing, and many of the other programs in an integrated manner, we would be able to achieve a significant level of reduction in out-of-school children.
If left unaddressed, will not only prevent them from participating actively in the socio-economic life of the society, but also jeopardize the peace and security of the country.
Our FEB is designed to provide a multidimensional, broad-spectrum approach relating to children and youth that are at risk around the country. This approach aims at addressing 7 broad pillars.
The At-Risk Children Program is aligned with the National Poverty Reduction Program. From the banquet hall of the State House, Jide Onifade, NT News.
Turning to the economy now, for those waiting on Nigeria to float the naira, they would have to wait much longer as the central bank, along with the Bankers Committee, take a firm position to defend the local currency. Governor of the CBN, Godwin Emefiele, disclosed this in Abuja as he reeled out 5 thematic areas of focus of the new policy designed to boost non-oil exports and draw in $200 billion in 5 years. Leah Katumba Batunde has details of the program.
Like many economies on the globe is reeling from the economic consequences of the coronavirus pandemic amid weak global recovery. Despite being diversified, low non-oil revenue income remains a source of concern to policymakers. The 364th Bankers Committee meeting ended in Abuja with a collective agreement to deepen Nigeria's banking system and broaden the base of the economy through non-oil income.
I'm mindful that this goal itself may appear unattainable to some, but we are resolute and determined that we can achieve it. Many countries that are much less endowed than Nigeria are doing the same.
The governor announced a retention of 5% interest rate on CBN's over 3 trillion economic intervention for another year. Also announced is the RT200 FX program, which stands for the raise to $200 billion in foreign exchange repatriation exclusively from non-oil exports over the next 3 to 5 years. It is anchored on value-adding exports facility, non-oil commodities expansion facility, non-oil FX rebate scheme, dedicated non-oil export terminal, and biannual non-oil export summit. The summit will begin April 2022. Emefiele called on state governors with ports to work with the apex regulator in establishing dedicated non-oil terminals in a drive to boost value-added exports that will come with cheaper lending rates.
We are saying for them to process them into semi-finished or finished goods that where there has been a lot of value addition that would have created employment, that we will fund their obligation. We will fund them to acquire plants and equipment. We will fund them to open factories for 10 years loan and 2 years moratorium.
Emefiele called on state governors with ports to work with the Apex Bank in establishing dedicated non-oil terminals in a drive to boost value-added exports that will come with cheaper lending rates. The bank will also be working with relevant agencies and bodies to ensure that the set target is achieved. In Abuja, Leah Katumba Batunde, NTA News.
Time for a first break. We'll be back shortly.
Get data unlimited to experience Dance Unlimited on Glow TV. Watch Battle of the Year and other amazing TV content with Glow TV data plans that will make you dance. Dial *777# to choose the right data plan for you.
Association of National Accountants of Nigeria, ANAN, invites members to the first session of 2022 Mandatory Continuing Professional Development MCPD program. Theme: Contemporary Development in Public Sector Accounting. Date is Monday, February 28 to Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022. Time 9 a.m. daily. Venue: M&M Event Center, 900 Herbert Macaulay Way, beside International Conference Center, Abuja. Chief host: Reverend Canon Professor Benjamin Chuka Osisioma, FCNA. President and Chairman of Council. Signed, Dr. Nuruddin Abba Abdullahi, MNI, FCNA Chief Executive Officer, Announcer. Anan, a premium brand of choice.
At the heart of your waking up and going out is your desire to succeed. This keeps you awake, running through your mind, even when bathing. At Bedmate, we understand and remain your partners in providing you durable furniture that helps you work better and introduces you as a person of good taste. That's why from 13 January to 20 February 2022, you can own items in a Sophia Office series at incredible discounts of 20% off with amazing gifts too. Hurry now to our showrooms to enjoy this limited offer like many others needing high-performance work tools to success.
Why you they treat me like say I know important? You know the rate within I be to you. Clean me up, treat me well. No be just do the dump and go. You need to show me that you care. Oh yeah. Because no matter where you go, no matter how we be, I go always there for you. Anything where you drop or whatever you drink, oh, I cannot be the bar for you. All I ask in return is that you treat me a little better. With eyebrow, toilet cleaner, my hygiene, now your own.
The ever-busy ancient city of Onitsha is a commercial hub with millions of commuters seamlessly linking other states daily for business, leisure, and other purposes. To upscale its road network, the construction of a 1.6-kilometer long second Niger bridge, including a 10.3-kilometer highway furnished with other infrastructure, has been in motion by the federal government. This project will ease congestion on the existing 56-year-old Onitsha bridge and boost the economic capacity of the state as it easily connects to other parts of the country. The completion of the world-class second Niger bridge Onitsha will be one of the many proud moments of the state, its people, Nigerians, and foreign investors. Onitsha, which hosts the largest market in Africa, is geared up to boast of an impressive road network. Once again, these moments are made alive by the federal government, and it is deserving of all the applause.
Sensational world of Glow, now accessible through one code, *777#.
Thanks for staying with us. This broadcast can be viewed live on our website, nta.ng/live, YouTube channel, NTA News Online, Twitter at NTA News Now, Facebook page, NTA Network News, and Instagram, NTA Network, for updates. Key players in the downstream petroleum sector are calling for a holistic approach going forward towards averting a repeat of the situation precipitated by the methanol-contaminated petrol saga. Lydia Sampson reports.
Situations like these are certainly not palatable for industry players.
It is a very, very difficult period for us, and it's very important to update our customers and the members of the general public on the ongoing efforts by NNPC and other stakeholders to resolve the issues generated by the unfortunate supply and discharge of methanol-blended gasoline in some Nigerian depots.
The need for a holistic approach towards lasting solution is the focus of all stakeholders.
There's a surveyor that actually went on board that took samples. Because this parameter was not indicated, they didn't capture that parameter. So it's a mistake. Now, going forward, obviously, we have to try and look at all parameters, all the components of imported products.
The Major Marketers Association of Nigeria, Mormon, says they are optimistic that lessons learned will be deployed to reposition gray areas in the supply chain.
We had about 136 reported cases of issues with cars. We addressed all of them. What we're trying to do now is to manage two things. One is to make sure that operations continue as normal. The worst thing that has happened to, I think, this country in quite a few years is seeing those queues build up again. We're working assiduously to make sure that the clean products that we receive into our systems are pushed through to consumers immediately.
For now, depot owners and major marketers say they are working around the clock to supply quality products to keep the nation moving. This situation has not gone down without some demands for remediation following claims of losses. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
In the meantime, the House of Representatives has adopted a resolution to investigate the recent importation, release and sale of adulterated petrol across the country. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that House Chief Whip Mohammed Tahir Mungunu raised the issue as a matter of urgent public importance during plenary.
The economic cost of the adulterated fuel on Nigeria and users is of concern to the lawmakers as they wondered how it was imported and distributed.
It has national security implications. Investigations should also be done thoroughly so that the culprits should be brought to book.
To import petroleum products has become a war that we have to win. Why?
It means the system is completely compromised. There are almost 11 checks before a petroleum product gets to the filling station.
The oil was imported from Belgium. If we know the source of the oil and we know the company that brought it in, what are we waiting for? My question now and my argument is that what has NNPC done in the last 72 hours?
They attributed the situation to the failure of monitoring and surveillance system which guarantees quality. Plenary also adopted the motion from Benjamin Kalu lamenting oil spillage in riverine areas and the effect on environments.
To mandate the committees on safety standards and regulations and upstream petroleum to investigate the issues of incessant leakages and explosions from oil fields with particular reference to A, safety and regulatory standard, and B, ascertaining the cause and extent of gas leakages in order to forestall further occurrences.
Representative Abubakar Maki's motion urging the federal government to extend railway lines to Malam Maduri, Kaugama in Jigawa State to enhance economic activities was supported.
Despite being a major route for transportation of goods and services, the rail system in the area is almost non-existent, as sometimes the train passes only once in a week.
Bills passed at second reading include Federal University of Medical and Health Sciences, Bende, Abia State, from Benjamin Kalu, bill to establish Federal Road Safety Corps Training School sponsored by Mayowa Kimfolaring, bill to establish Federal College of Animal Husbandry, Kauje, Kebbi State, from Bello Kauje, and bill to establish National Institute for Artificial Intelligence, Akwa Ibom, sponsored by Aniekan Umana. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has described education as a potent tool for generational development and is calling for more investments in the sector. He made the call at an event organized to raise funds to revitalize education in Yobe State. Dayo Mushola reports.
The determination to rise above the devastation and revitalize education in Yobe State brought together these eminent Nigerians. President of the Senate and other Nigerians shared same line of thought that education is the tool to change the world for better.
The investment in education is the best investment that anybody could do that will attract the best interest at the end of the day.
I therefore epitomize the fact that education is the foundation. Indeed, it is the key to a successful and fulfilling life.
For the state governor, the expected byproduct of this appeal is limitless.
The enormity of the task to rejuvenate education in the state is far beyond the traditional treasury capacity of Yobe State, even as we put forward our best efforts. Consequent to this challenge, we decided to approach our good selves, our potential benefactors, through this education fundraising event.
Given the state's commitment to education even before now, speakers, in their goodwill messages, expressed hope that the intervention will change the narrative for better. In Abuja, Dayo Mushola, NTA News.
Troops of the Nigerian Armed Forces have within the last 3 weeks rescued 48 kidnapped victims and eliminated 20 terrorists in the northeast. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Bernard Onyuko, announced this at a news conference in Abuja.
Yet another defense media operations briefing on the harvest from joint military operations between 28th January and 10th February 2022. Top on the list is the rescue of a total of 48 kidnapped victims by troops in different parts of the country and the elimination of 120 unrepented terrorists in the northeast.
The air interdiction that eliminated several SWAT commanders and their fighters were recorded during one of our air interdictions. Notably, Malam Ari, the Amirul Fia in charge of Kirta Urgu, and some foreign mercenaries fabricating improvised explosive device for the terrorists were killed during the airstrike.
Similarly, troops of Operation Wild Stroke on patrol intercepted 8 trucks loaded with vandalized railway tracks in North Bank, Makurdi, Benue State.
8 trucks laden with vandalized railway tracks, sleepers, 3 cars, 7 motorcycles, large quantities of marijuana were impounded in the course of the operation.
Fight against the nation's economic sabotage by troops of Operation Delta Safe led to the discovery and the activation of 45 illegal refining sites and 9 trucks loaded with crude oil products in the South-South. From the Defense Headquarters in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
The police have confirmed the death of one of the suspected armed robbers who attacked a bullion van in broad daylight in Ibadan. The gang was said to have reportedly escaped with the dead member. Rofia Animasham Badmos reports.
Thursday afternoon, hijacked a bullion van belonging to one of the banks at Idiakwe area of Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Report has it that the robbers who had laid an ambush opened fire on the bullion van and escort vehicle while heading towards Iwo Road. Commissioner of Police, Oyo State, Ngozi Onodeko, said the robbery is a coordinated attack.
In the back of vehicle, escorting the bullion van, shot dead one of the armed robbers. And funny enough, the armed robbers took away the corpse of the killed one.
As at the time of filing this report, the police in a statement confirmed the death of 2 policemen as a result of gunshot injuries sustained, while 2 other policemen and 4 persons are responding to treatment. The police urged residents not to panic as efforts are in top gear to track down and apprehend the robbery gang. In Ibadan, Rofia Animasham Badmos, NTA News.
The Nigerian Navy and the Institute for Marine Studies of the University of Lagos are entering uncharted waters, literally, with a partnership which will place Nigeria's hydrographic exploits on a global scale and map creeks, backwaters and little-known bodies of water for national security. Defense correspondent Naja'atu Tijani reports.
Shaking hands on what is now a done deal, the Nigerian Navy and the University of Lagos begin a voyage expected to advance Nigeria's hydrological practice, among other exploits.
To open up Nigeria's internal waters through systematic hydrographic survey and charting, development and the recent establishment of new naval bases in security-prone communities.
The partnership is a win-win situation, expected to also facilitate accreditation of the MSc Hydrographic Program.
Because this is very important so that people doing that program can be relevant at the local and at the international level. And finally, the organizational local patronage.
Nigerians can expect to see more of such collaborations between the Nigerian Navy and other establishments as it continues to expand its operations in line with its constitutional mandate. With the recent acquisition of the hydrographic vessel NNS Lana, which has commenced the survey of Nigeria's waters, and another survey ship due to join the Nigerian Navy fleet in 2023, building the capacity of skilled hydrographers is likely to boost the nation's economy, which will in turn boost national security. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
The National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW, is currently working to resolve the recent dispute which arose among some of its members in the Lagos State Council, which led to the disruption of public order. The union's president, Tajuddin Ibikunle Barwa, met with the disputing parties and other stakeholders in Abuja, insisting that peace must prevail. Musa Suleja reports.
For a long time, public perception of the National Union of Road Transport Workers was negative, as most Nigerians considered the group as an assemblage of hooligans. But with changes came some sanity, and the members themselves say the group has changed for good, with most of them now engaged in productive ventures and making laudable contributions to society. However, simmering tension among some members of the Lagos State Council escalated recently to an ugly showdown, threatening the peace in the state and bringing the union to disrepute. This prompted the summon of the executive of the Lagos State Council to Abuja, national headquarters of the union.
The purpose of this meeting of today is to settle a lot of crises going on in Lagos State. But I take a life of one person. Being the president of the union, I want peace in my union throughout the country.
A communique issued at the end of the deliberations indicated that disciplinary actions will be taken against the Lagos State Council or any member found guilty. It called for reconciliation among the aggrieved parties and enjoined politicians and traditional rulers to be cautious of mischief makers in the union who will want to use their names to cause tension in the union. The National Union sympathized with the victims of the crisis in Lagos and assured the state government of its commitment to ensure that its members remain law-abiding. It is hoped that this action will checkmate the reprehensible behavior witnessed in Lagos and ensure cordial relations with customers and government officials alike. Musa Suleja, NTA News.
Next, some reports with Hingino in Lagos. Hingino.
Thank you, Cyril. The Controller General of Customs Strike Force Team, Zone A, has again intercepted pangolin scales and elephant tusk with a total value of more than 3 billion naira. The National Public Relations Officer of the service, Joseph Atta, said the development is a proof of the customs' resolve to fish out and bring all illegal wildlife trade actors to justice. Michael Olale has details.
This consignment is the fourth major seizure of pangolin scales and elephant tusks within 13 months. The volume this time include 839 kilograms of pangolin scales and 145 kilograms of elephant tusks. According to the customs, they were intercepted in Lake area of Lagos on the 2nd of February 2022 upon credible intelligence that a Sienna minivan is suspected to be loaded with uncustomed goods. After 100% joint examination, 4 occupants were apprehended and the items seized.
Nigeria, as you all know, is a signatory to Convention on International Trade and Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. As a responsible member of the global community, we cannot allow our nation to be used as a conduit path for illegal wildlife trade.
Based on its investigation and precedents, the customs say trade in wildlife is not a Nigerian affair, but equally worried on how foreigners employ the services of local people to transport their legal commodity across the world. For previous seizures, the customs say prosecution is still ongoing, while ringleader of the August 2021 pangolin seizure is on the wanted list of Interpol.
We call on members of the public to support the service by providing timely information that will help us cripple this criminal network of illegal wildlife trade.
Meanwhile, a new zonal coordinator, Mohammed Yusuf, has assumed office in the Zone A command of the Strike Force team, replacing the former Amadou Shuaibu. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NT News.
The Nigerian Railway Corporation is offering additional opportunities for brands, businesses, products and services to leverage their market as the corporation continues to expand its services across the country. Management of NRC announced this in Lagos at the formal launch of Railway Advertising, a public-private sector partnership with an advertising agency. Adeola Komiakere reports.
As part of ongoing rejuvenation of rail transport across the country, the Nigerian Railway Corporation remains committed to adding value and quality of service while ensuring safety of operations. With a huge number of passengers recorded on a daily basis through the rail network, it therefore became necessary to maximize this opportunity for brand visibility and engagement using advertisement.
We've identified advertising opportunities around and within here, and which we intend to, to sell to brands and corporate organizations who want to, leverage the advertising touch points within this place to drive their brand messages and engagements to their target audience.
The partnership between the NRC and B2YB Media will provide a massive platform to reach millions of Nigerians who patronize the rail transportation.
In terms of the revenue, we expect it to be substantial, and it's part of our revenue profile for the coming years, and it's part of what we need to keep the infrastructure properly maintained.
Director Operations, Nigeria Railway Corporation, also announced plans to expand its operations to cover the southeast and northeast, as well as cargo rail line from Apapa to different parts of the country.
What we're looking at most excitedly is the opening up of the Ibadan terminal for freight services. So the Shippers Council are working to do an ICD in Ibadan, and then the plan is to use the standard gauge railway to evacuate cargo from the port all the way to Ibadan, and then from Ibadan it can be created into other parts of the country.
The railway advertising is expected to generate additional revenue and job opportunities for Nigerian youths. In Lagos, Adeola Komiakere, NTA News.
Time now for another break, but before then, don't forget that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on YouTube at NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page at NTA Network News, Twitter handle at NTA News Now, and on Instagram at NTA Network for updates.
Don't worry, dear. I'll take care of it. How do you manage to keep your fabric so white? And how do you manage to keep your house this clean?
I always use Hypo to make our white clothes whiter and to keep our home clean and germ-free.
Make your white fabrics whiter and your home free of illness causing viruses and germs with the disinfecting power of Hypo Bleach.
Judges of Nigerian Idol Season 7 are ready. The stage is set, and now it's time for you to impress.
Nigerian Idol Season 7, showing every Sunday on Africa Magic Urban and Family. Proudly sponsored by Biggie Drinks, Nigeria's favorite, and Binance. Exchange the world.
157-kilometer Lagos-Ibadan Railway is the first double-track standard gauge railway to be built in West Africa. The Mobolaji Johnson train station is a masterpiece, an infrastructure that is gradually becoming an iconic building in Lagos State. The modern facilities put the station on a world map of train stations. Likewise, other new train stations across the country built to world-class standards. The train and its convenience is indeed an admirable effort, with commendations from Nigerians.
This is a station that we have to commend the federal government for putting a beautiful face, empowering us in Lagos State, not only in economic and political arena.
I can say that I'm really impressed with the infrastructures in place. Kudos to the Minister of Transportations. Kudos to the federal government.
Truly, good things are coming out of Nigeria, and the federal government is deserving of all the applause.
Back in Abuja, Benny Adams goes the business way. Benny.
Thank you, Cyril. Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, Thursday told banks to source for foreign exchange for customers by themselves, as the Apex Bank will no longer entertain demands from them for their customers. He was reacting to concerns over the new forex policy and its reception by deposit money banks.
Tell them, don't come to Central Bank for foreign exchange again. Go and generate your export proceeds. Fund people who want to generate export proceeds. When those export proceeds come, we'll fund them at 5% for you. Yeah? When those export proceeds come, they will earn rebate. That's how we can help you. Then when those proceeds come, sell those proceeds to your customer that want $100 million or $200 million. Then to say you will continue to come to Central Bank to give you dollar, we will stop it. We will stop it. So they don't have a choice.
And the president of African Development Bank Group, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, says the African Development Bank has been given the mandate by a decision of the African Union to lead the mobilization of resources for Africa. He was speaking on the need to mobilize financing for Africa's accelerated economic recovery, development and integration. To achieve this, Akinwumi is of the view that a quicker recovery is dependent on Africa's investment in quality healthcare, infrastructure, and boosting vaccine manufacturing capacity. He added that Africa needs $600 million to $1.3 billion to meet its goal of attaining 60% vaccine production by 2040. And for economic recovery, he says Africa will need some $484 billion over the next 3 years, and to eliminate extreme poverty by 2030. The continent will need $414 to $784 billion per year. $7 to $15 billion a year will also be needed to deal with climate change. The continent will also need between $68 to $108 billion per year to fix infrastructure financing gap. And to the energy market, oil prices rose on Thursday after rallying on an unexpected drop in U.S. crude inventories in the previous session, as investors awaited the outcome of U.S.-Iran nuclear talks that could add crude supplies quickly to global markets. Brent crude futures rose 65 cents to $92.20 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was at $90.64 a barrel. And moving to the capital market, investors gain 69.57 billion naira as all share index inched up further by 0.27% to close at 47,286.34 basis points. 198 million shares worth 3.45 billion naira were traded in 4,294 deals, while market capitalization appreciated to 25.4 trillion naira. Market breadth closed positive, as gainers led 29 gainers as against 9 losers, topped by Unity Capital. Charms, Transcorp and Access led the activity chart in volume and value, while Seplat and Flour Mill topped the market value list. That is business news. Cyril, it's nice doing business with you.
All right, let's do it again. Thank you, Benny. 300 women have been properly equipped with modern trends in hairstyling and braiding after undergoing intensive training This is made possible by Lush Hair Academy in collaboration with Nations Builders College of Technology, Asaba, Delta State. Tessie Coker reports.
Here comes the last day of the program. Whatever has a beginning must have an end. The intensive training, however, translated into these hairstyles showcased to the people then the experience.
Truly, I don't have any passion, but coming to this program, I was very happy because I learned many things.
And what gives me joy is that my wife will not go to salon again.
And I want to also thank Lush Hair for the teachers and everything.
The participants were in beginners and intermediate classes where the winner takes it all.
Don't learn here and drop it at the door of this place as you go out. Go home with it.
This is entrepreneurship. You have acquired a skill that you will use forever.
Because some persons are good at they just garner the knowledge and they don't make good use of it. My advice is go and put it to work.
They saw the results in the 3 days workshop training that we did for them, and of course their feedback has been amazing.
It is now time to appreciate the hairstylist for a job well done. For the branch manager of Lush Academy, Ratambara Kaka, the experience in Delta State is worthwhile.
For Lush Hair, I feel it's a great opportunity for us as well to cater to 282 stylists in the same hall at the same time. We've been able to train, this is the highest we've trained anyone in 3-day time period. So even from the academy, the students we've graduated so far are close to 90. And this was one of the highest achievements. I feel we feel great to empower so many people.
Lush Hair is a trustable brand of synthetic hair extension in Asaba. Tessie Coker, NTA News.
The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, in its monthly oil market report, says it is expecting world oil demand to rise by 4.15 million barrels per day this year, unchanged from its forecast last month. The organization is optimistic of an upside potential to its already potent forecast for world oil demand in 2022, as the global economy projects a strong recovery from the coronavirus pandemic, with sectors like tourism benefits increasing. The positive stance of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries is coming as oil prices reached the highest since 2014. OPEC says its outlook rose by 64,000 barrels per day in January to 29.98 million barrels per day. Nigeria is targeting energy sufficiency by the year 2030 with 30% renewable energy mix. Minister of State for Power, Godi Jediagba, restated government's commitment to achieving this while inaugurating the board of the Rural Electrification Agency. Joshua Ujitu reports.
Driving federal government vision 30-30-30 for energy sufficiency is the Rural Electrification Agency, with Abdulaziz Musayar Adwa as the new board chairman, expected to work in synergy with the managing director Ahmad Salihijo and other board members to achieve target results of providing electricity to unserved and underserved communities. Minister of State for Power, Godi J.D. Agba, tasked the new board members to hit the ground running and deliver results.
We will have performance targets which will come to review from time to time to see how far you've gone and make inputs or take out something from what you've done or not done. So we expect that there's cooperation. In this present system, we emphasize more on harmony and working together, synergy. If there's synergy between the board and management, we'll have no friction.
I want to assure Mr. President that we shall approach our assignment with determination, forthrightness and fear of Allah, so that his objective of provision of light to rural communities will be achieved.
The new board for Rural Electrification Agency has 6 members representing the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, with representatives of federal ministries of power and finance, as well as Bureau of Public Enterprises. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Time for another quick break.
The The Nigerian aviation sector is rapidly growing with the construction of new international airport terminals in several regions of the country. The new Murtala Mohammed International Airport has an estimated passenger increase of 30 million annually and 15 million for Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. Malam Aminu Kano International Airport is also expected to open new frontiers for the region with more travel capacity for the annual Hajj, while the new Akanu Ibiam International Airport, Enugu, avails more business opportunities connecting the industrial cities in the region to the world. These new terminals beat world-class standards with enabling infrastructure that aid air travel, tourism, and the eventual growth of the country's GDP.
Open up commerce and, of course, link us to international societies.
People from international community will come here to do business, and then that will bring in more revenue to the state.
Now, distances can be seamlessly covered as Nigeria keeps raising its bar to suit global infrastructure standards.
Welcome back. First Lady Aisha Muhammadu Buhari has described the death of Sheikh Ahmed Bamba and some elder statesmen in Kano as a great loss to not only the people of the state, but the nation at large. Yahanasu Hassan reports.
The First Lady Aisha Buhari described the demise of some notable indigents of the state as a vacuum to not only people of Kano, but the entire nation, as their contributions will be missed by all. She said the role played by late Ahmed Bamba towards Islamic development and the promotion of peace in the country is worthy of emulation. Commiserating with the families of late Sani Dangwati, late Bashir Othman Tufa, and late Sani Buhari Daura, the First Lady described their contributions to economic development as one that will remain written in gold in Nigeria's history. While in the commercial hub, Aisha Buhari also sympathized with late Hanifa Abubakar's parents over the gruesome murder, saying the bad news remains fresh in her mind.
Mothers in Nigeria are waiting and willing to hear something that the judgment will, lead to something that will bring sanity in the society.
Calling on all the first ladies, as she mentioned, that we must open our eyes. We must go around. We must sensitize our people so that we come out and do the needful.
For having a first lady neglecting all her tight schedule to come all over to Kano to condole us, I really appreciate. I don't have enough words to express my sincerest appreciation.
The First Lady has since departed to Abuja. In Kano, Yahana Hassan.
Arrangements have now been concluded for the final interment of late Senior Apostle Chima Ogwagu, who passed on recently at the age of 72. An announcement by the family indicates that the deceased will be laid to rest at his residence, Eli's compound in Acha village, Isukwato, Abia State. Well, it's not the end of the news tonight, as that jingle would have indicated. Obviously, the NTA's signature tune has clearly passed the test of time, with youngsters who probably were not born during the golden era of network news and its significance to national life, finding it fascinating enough to inspire them to do a remix. Well, now is the conclusion of Network News Tonight. But remember to stand with the NTA against rape and rapists. I'm Cyril Stober. Good night.